is Jarrod Horak for the RunawayHorse.com, back with another handicapping video, and I'm going to start a new handicapping series for this one. I did my Triple Crown series where I went through and did all the points races, and I even did the Kentucky Oaks on the Road to the Oaks series as well. And I've done some handicapping series where I talk about trifectas, superfectas, and how to wager certain things. This one for this series, we're going to do the Breeders' Cup Winning You're In series. Now, I'm not going to be able to cover all of the races. There's going to be a bunch of them. But I'm going to go through each week, and I'm going to try to do as many of these Winning You're In Breeders' Cup races as I can. And then the Breeders' Cup will be at Keeneland this fall on November 4th and 5th at Keeneland. And so I'll go through, and in this video we have a Winning You're In for the Breeders' Cup Mile turf race, and it's going to be the Shoemaker Mile from Santa Anita Park. And then I'll try to do some international races as well in this series. There's some international Winning You're In races. So I'll try to just jump through this each month, each weekend, and then do as many of these as I can. But let's just start now with that Shoemaker Mile. If you're interested in my full card analysis from Santa Anita Park, from Del Mar, my Triple Crown full cards, my Breeders' Cup full cards, all the products that I cover, if you go over to the runawayhorse.com and click on my sales page, you'll be able to find all of the products that I cover each year. And I've been doing these full cards since 1998, long time online selling these. And so just go over to the runawayhorse.com if you're interested in any of that. But we are going to do for Memorial Day Monday, for Monday, May 30th, 2022, the 5th race from Santa Anita Park. It's going to be the Grade 1 $500,000 Shoemaker Mile for 3-year-olds and up, a mile on the turf course. And the post time is scheduled for 6:18 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a field of 6 in here. Masteroffoxhounds is number 1, 5-1 morning line for trainer Phil D'Amato. I've always liked this one, and Juan Hernandez is going to stay aboard. And for this horse, I always thought he was better at longer distances, but he's won at a mile before. He's run well in 3 of his 5 races at 1 mile. And he won the Grade 2 San Marcos at a mile and a quarter on the turf course at Santa Anita last year. And then the Grade 3 San Luis Rey at a mile and a half, he was 3rd, beating a length and 3/4. And then he tailed off in the Turf Classic Manhattan Del Mar handicap. They laid him off from August of last year till March 25th of this year in an optional claiming race at 1 mile. It was a 5-horse field from post 2. He went out there and he set the pace. He was 2nd, beaten a half length. They stretched him out from 8 furlongs to 10 furlongs in the Grade 2 Charles Whittingham last time out on April 30th, and he stalked the pace from 3rd, and he finished 2nd. It was a solid enough effort there behind Beyond Brilliant. He wasn't able to catch that one, but he was a solid enough 2nd. Now, Juan Hernandez rode in the last 2 starts. He'll ride back here. He's run at Santa Anita 4 times with a win, 2 seconds, and a 3rd. As I said, he's run well. Actually, in 5 starts at this distance, he has a win and a 2nd, and that 2nd was in that race earlier this year. I still think he's not quite quick enough at 1 mile to outquick this kind of company, but he's one that should sit a good trip, saving ground, stalking the pace. Number 2, count again for trainer Phil D'Amato, 5-2 morning line, and Jarrod Ortiz Jr. is going to ride. This one won a couple of 1 mile graded races on the turf course at Santa Anita earlier this year on February 5th. The Grade 3 Thunder Road, he rallied from 4th, 6 lengths back to win that one by a half length. And then in the Grade 1 Kilrow Mile at 1 mile, in an 11-horse field, he rallied from 10th to just get up and win that one by a head. He went to Keeneland last time for the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile, and he rallied from 8th, and he ended up finishing 6th. He was 6 lengths or 7 lengths back, and he finished 6th, beating a length and 3/4 in that 8-horse field. That was a slower early, fast late event, and he just could not outkick those horses. But now he's back at Santa Anita Park, where he has those 2 late-running graded wins earlier this year. And if he can get enough pace help, he can win. Now, Flavien Prat was aboard for his 2 wins at Santa Anita earlier this year, but he's going to ride the different horse in this race, the favorite, Smooth Like Strait. So, as I said, Jarrod Ortiz Jr. has the call. Number 3, Heywoods Beach, 10-1 morning line for trainer John Sadler. 3 for 16. This one was getting better in some longer races, and then switching to the main track too, where he won a mile and a quarter main track race at Santa Anita. The Gold Cup at Santa Anita last year, he finished 5th, and then the Cougar the 2nd at a mile and a half on dirt. He ended up finishing third after setting the pace last year at Del Mar on their main track. Now, he hasn't run in more than 10 months. He's moving back to the turf course. He's run 11 times on turf with 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. And both of those wins were at this 1 mile distance. He has some tactical speed. I just think from a class standpoint, he could be in a bit deep. Now, he reunites with Umberto Rispoli, and Rispoli was aboard for his victory August 2020 optional claiming win on the turf course at 1 mile at Del Mar. And then Rispoli also rode him to a head defeat in the Let It Ride Stakes, a restricted stakes race at Del Mar. I just think he's just in a bit tough in here, coming off of that layoff. And Rispoli was usually the rider for Smooth Like Strait. They wanted to mix it up and give Pratt the mount. So now Rispoli ends up here. Number 4, Dance Some Mo is another Phil D'Amato trainee. Now this one, last couple starts, he eased a couple starts back on the main track at Santa Anita, and then last time on the turf course he finished 5th against Optional Claiming Company in a 12-horse field. He had some decent form at Woodbine in 2021 on all-weather ground, and he won a mile in an 8th turf race at Churchill Downs May of 2021. So I just think looking at his class, he just seems to be up against it in here. And maybe they want to try to get forward and hope that they can get some pace for Count Again. But I don't know that he's really quick enough to set the pace in here because number 5, Smooth Like Strait, looks like the controlling speed on paper. He's 4 to 5 morning line. Now, the interesting thing about him is if you look at his last 10 starts, and I'm sure a lot of people that follow racing are very familiar with Smooth Like Strait in these graded turf races, he's always right there. And it seems like when you hear his name, you think, oh, maybe he won multiple stakes races recently, but he hasn't. He's only won 2 of his last 10 starts. It's crazy. He's always right there at the wire, but he just seems to miss quite a bit. He missed by a head a couple times. He missed by a neck at least 3 or 4 times. He was second beaten a half in the Breeders' Cup Turf, same thing in the City of Hope Mile. So he's an early pressing type that gets out there, and then he just doesn't quite finish the job a lot. They're going to mix it up, as I said. Riespoli's been riding him. He's a good turf rider, but they just want to try something different. Maybe more aggressive tactics is probably what I'm thinking they want to do. They just want to get him out there and let him set the pace and roll instead of setting a controlled pace, keeping the closers in the race, and not being able to outkick them. His weapon is his speed. They need to use it, and I think they are going to do that in here. He's run 9 times at Santa Anita, 4 wins, 3 seconds, and a third, and he's finished in the top 3 in 10 of 11 starts at this distance with 4 wins and 5 seconds. Restrainedvengence rounds out the field, and he's adding blinkers for this. He was one in the Shoemaker Mile last year where he stuck the pace at 19 to 1. He was putting pressure on Smooth Like Strait, but he wasn't able to get the job done. He finished third, a good third at 19 to 1. Now, Smooth Like Strait won this race last year, and that's the last race that he has won. He just kept hitting the board after that. But Restrainedvengence hit the board there. Then he won the Grade 3 American at Santa Anita. They tried him in the Grade 2 Eddie Reed. He was 6th. And then he won, they took him to the Charlestown Classic on dirt. He was 4th. He won a little stakes race by a nose, a $200,000 stakes race. And then when they shipped him out of town, and then they ran him at Del Mar in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I liked him underneath as a long shot, and Life is Good won that one. And he ended up finishing 3rd there at 40 to 1 odds. So I was able to get a decent score having him hit the board in that race. And then his 2 starts this year, he's been below par. The John Shear Mile, he was 5th in a 7-horse field racing wide. And then from post 11 in the Grade 3 San Francisco at Golden Gate last time, he was 11th early in that 14-horse field. And he was able to finish 8th, beating a little more than 3 lengths. But again, like a little below par compared to his top form from last year. So adding blinkers, and he has tactical speed, so I think he's probably going to try to stalk outside with those blinkers on, and Edwin Maldonado, who's been riding him recently, stays aboard. If he can move forward a little bit more. He did show some late interest last time, and I think maybe he's sitting on a better effort here. Tough race, but I think he can hit the board. So my top choice in here, I can't go against Smooth Like Strait. I just think he's going to go out there. He's going to set the pace. They're not going to fool around this time. They're not going to get him to the lead and then take a hold of him and let the other horses stay. They're just going to go. I know they're going to go in this race. with Flavien Prat aboard. And even if someone else does want to go and they're intent on the lead, he's more than capable of stalking it and getting the first run. But I think they want him to set the pace and just run an aggressive race this time. So Smooth Lake Strait will be my top choice. I want to play a cold exacta with Smooth Lake Strait on top of number 6, Restrainedvengence. I just think from the value standpoint, he's run well enough against this kind of company to think that he can hit the board. And then a trifecta, Smooth Lake Strait. I'll just key him on top of Masteroffoxhounds, number 1, number 2, Count Again, and number 6, Restrainedvengence. Don't want to bet too much into this race. Smooth Lake Strait's the favorite. He looks like the deserving favorite. And if he wins this race, this is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And he'll be in that race if he gets the job done here. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. I'm going to be covering more Breeders' Cup win and you're in races as this year goes on. So keep watching my YouTube channel. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.